Hello, here's AlexM.Lok, and this is the HardHarp, the video blog with tips and tricks, techniques, and everything what will make your practice more productive, easy, and enjoyable. I will publish this video on the Patreon, so the link is in description. Today we talk about the Moldau by Bedřich Smetana, which was written in
1874
and transcribed for the harp by Janos Trenček 30 years later. Janos was a pianist, harpist, and productive composer. He wrote even 5 operas. They were not so popular, but this transcription became one of the most important and famous transcriptions for the harp. Well, basically like everything what connected to the water. How it happened and what we can learn from that, we will hear in the next 20 minutes. Moldau, or originally Vltava, is the second poem out of 6 written by Smetana. He was almost deaf at that time, so he was using a lot of imagination, and we will need as well. In this composition we also hear the theme of the first poem, which called Visegrad. This transcription is made basically step by step after the original. It's missing the polka, the village marriage, but there is additional cadenza and another 2 spots which were written by Trenček especially for that transcription. The ending is new. Basically the original poem is just disappearing in the time, and there is a huge traditional fantasy ending. Jana Boškova, for example, plays more traditional. The composition starts with the 2 streams of the Moldau, the warm and cold, and originally they were represented by flute, the cold stream, and by clarinet, the warm stream. We will have them in the right and left hands. Most of the people think that to describe the water atmosphere we need to be very fluid and rubato, but it's wrong. To describe water, you should be very rhythmical and clear. First of all, because the Moldau is a very clear river. You can see all the way to the bottom with all the carps and other fishes. So it's outstanding, and that's what we should copy here. To be as clear as possible from the very beginning, there are a few exercises which you will need to do. Is 2, 1, 4, 3, just basically staying on one place, just with a lot of articulation, and the same 2, 1, 3, 1. Actually nothing difficult, but you should hold your hand on one position, and especially if you will do faster, that will be more difficult. After that we go through all the introduction, loud and slow. Put these words in the frame and on your wall, because they are saving the day. So you just go without any dynamic, without any difference between the fingers. They are just playing slow and loud. Basically the fingerings are quite good, but I wouldn't suggest you to slide. It would be much better if you just always, in all these places, use additional finger. It's better to turn, it's more stable. Sliding is never good, even if I learned that this way in the very beginning. What else we can find in the introduction? Basically not so much. There is a piano, ruhig, what means quiet And that's it. There is no so many dynamics, so keep it quiet. The first note is very important because this note is also originally written for the harp by Smetana in the partiture. So every bar, first 6 bars, the first note is represented by harp in the imagination of Smetana. You can also muffle these 3 notes. That will keep it just these 2 notes, and that will be much more clean. Like this, we come to the melody, and we prepare that with this quiet movement. You can either leave this note longer or just make a short pizzicato. Both the ways are, for me, interesting. And then, when we come to melody, it should come quiet and clear without changing anything. It's just like something coming out of the water, but something so fragile, so precious that it's not destroying that flow of the water. Try to keep the left hand independent as possible. We just need to learn this term, so you will need to work with your thumb and keeping the second finger. That's the second passage. In dynamic you can see the piano, crescendo and forte, but this is a very fragile forte. It's not the same forte we will have in reprisa when we have the bright stream of Moldau. So this forte should be a little bit more accurate. And your left hand can play a little bit before, especially the first bass. It's very interesting, but with the harp we have this possibility. It's the sustain and low attacca on the bass string give us a possibility actually to make the bass a little bit earlier, and for the people in the whole stream of the music that will not be remarkable. Then it's basically the same work as in the beginning with all these passages. So just slow and loud, and I would suggest to take here before the long one, before it's in my music it's on the 4th line, to take one note to the right hand so you can muffle the left hand. So all this long and beautiful double passage would be very clear. The main theme is gun, and now we're facing the hunt. So bassoons, trumpets and horns are imitating the hunting horns. The horns imitating the horns. Well, and here we need 2 things. First is to learn these long chords. We learn the passages in 3 steps. So first will be our 4th and the thumbs. Very important, and it's everywhere by all the passages. When you jump, try to feel how your back muscles react. So just move your concentration from the fingers to your back and feel how the hand is moving. And then you will be able to jump just with the eyes closed. Well, with some practice that should come. Yes, and the same with the thumbs, and then loud and slow. And after some time, it should be very clear, equal, and that's it. Then the second thing, your accents, and they should be exactly like that hunting horn. Make a hook and pull the string like you're shooting the hunting bow. You see, the sound is actually not so nice, but this is exactly what we need here. This sound is exactly the imitating this kind of horn. We turn to pages, and now we will need to take out our metronome, because this is the coarse place. We should first count the 6/8 to be sure that we're doing everything right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. This 6 I don't like at all. So try to cover this break. So you do that a little bit longer and you start that a little bit earlier, so you have no hole there. That's important. And then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. It's a little bit of counting, but you should play that in the rhythm. Otherwise, it's all falling apart. Song of Mermaids. Song of Mermaids. That's a difficult thing. And most of the people hate that place, they cut it, they think it's too long. Well, we need to learn how to sing with our thumb. And the left hand should be the same like in the beginning. That's very, very beautiful play. When you come to C minor, you can make your arpeggiatos in the right hand a little bit shorter, so the place would feel like it goes on. And remember, we need to hear the melody. The rest is accompaniment. The harp is very unique instrument. It can have the melody, accompaniment, basses, the ornaments, everything. So don't spoil it. And yes, in original partiture there is also a lot of harp in this place, because the harp creates the magic or something like this. Suddenly, in the same atmosphere, we get some structure, and it's written that we should be very rhythmical. It's because there is the old ruins of castles are on the sides of the river. So this this part should be very constructive and very with a lot of sorrow and melancholy about the past. The cadenza is easy. We learn it slow and loud. There is another trick. I use the fourth, and the idea is that you put all the position and the next position that you're not playing that, only the fourth. So it brings more concentration on what your fingers doing, because there are too many notes, too many things. You cannot be concentrate actually if your hand is coming on the place. A lot of my pupils asking me how to deal with the scales in the end of cadenza. So of course there is the only problem is to turn back. So what we can do is to work 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. The first who call this number probably get the punishment tool for your fingers if you are doing wrong. Repeat. Actually, before repeat, I add one note in the end of that together with F. I do one B, so we can go And then thresholds. Absolutely crazy place. I like it a lot. There's two things to do. The first is the left hand. What we can do here? We play slow, but we prepare the next one. And try not to do what I just did. Try to have no bases. So just like playing these notes again and again to see that you come to the right place. In the right hand, don't slide. I don't think that it's a good idea. After that, it's again the metronome plays. So we put our metronome on 6 and we play slowly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So to make sure that we know exactly where is the 1, where is the 6, and because otherwise in this chaos we actually cannot learn anything. We should be very structured. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So we know exactly where we are, even if I'm now counting at 1, 2, 3, but whatever it is, it should be counted. And add the A sharp to your trio. That would make it faster and easier to play. And then you just go without any transaction to Allegro Comodo. And in Allegro Comodo, the most important word is Comodo. And if you don't know what is Comodo, then it's your problems. If you will check what is the Comodo, this place will not be problem free. This is quite a difficult place, so we will need here all our ultimate superpowers. The metronome, slow and loud, and prepare fast, play slow. Those are 3 things. So with the metronome it's understandable, with slow and loud as well. To prepare fast, you just go very fast to the next, but you're not playing. You're just checking that you come to the right position. And then there is the part of the previous poem I was talking before. It's the Vyšehrad. Actually, the Vyšehrad is a very important place in Prague. It's the part of the town above the city, and it's not even the downtown, old town. It's the quintessence of all the story of the Prague with the religion, with the might, and of course it's above the Moldau. This part is maestoso, and we are not running anywhere. We reached actually the point. So everything before was the flow of the river, and now we are on place, so we don't run anywhere. I will suggest few things here. First of all, the glissando is really very short. It's just one end. On the end there is this small glissando. And then, after that, when we reach the 3, the passage goes a little bit over and we need like to jump in 1/32 back on the chord. So just play it as the end of the passage is actually the 3 and the chord is 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and so on. It's on very, very pragmatic. Then we come to the bright chords, and let's make a deal. The first chords you make the arpeggiato only in the left hand, and the second all the chord. happy, the people who love to make arpeggios, and those like me who actually normally plays without arpeggiatos. And finally, yeah, well, everybody who heard this with the orchestra knows that there are a very fragile violin solo. They know that you play the end of the piece 3 times faster, so I know it's mainstream. I know most of the recordings of the harpist are made with very fast passages. Just, well, I don't recommend to listen to all the harp recordings. Make your way. Listen to Karajan recording that with the orchestra and try to get the ideas from there, because we can always create something more. So I would suggest to make this ending very soft, like an original. Or you can use the original ending by Janusz Trenček, or the ending like Jana Boškova plays, for example. So that was the Moldau. Write your comments, write to me, ask your questions. I'm happy to answer it. Invite your friends to join Patreon so they can also investigate what I'm doing here, learn from that, and ask their questions. That's how we develop. So, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.